Dalton sketched furiously, and just as he finished the door, a clawed hand burst through the canvas and made it bleed. It showed his own father, standing in front of the door, holding a hammer. Some memories bury themselves for a reason. 9 years have passed since Dalton and his dad Josh made it back from the further, and things have quietly fallen apart for Josh. In that time, he's struggling to hold on to his own memories, losing track of entire conversations and moments he should remember. He's barely present for his kids. And on top of everything, his mother Lorraine has just passed away. Josh and his wife Renee are already divorced after years of her having to hide the truth from him and cover for things she couldn't explain. And Dalton himself has grown completely distant from his father, barely speaking to him beyond what's necessary. With Lorraine gone, Josh spirals even harder. So Renee suggests he use the drive to drop Dalton off at college as a chance to reconnect. He initially brushes the idea off, but eventually decides he wants to prove to Dalton that he can still be a good father. At the funeral, Josh runs into a man named Carl and can't shake the feeling that he already knows him somehow, though he can't place from where.
Do I know you? What's your name?
I knew your mother.
Once they arrive at the art school dorms, Josh admits to Dalton that he's been feeling off lately. Dalton tells him he should really get some help for it, but Josh waves it away, insisting he's handling it on his own. The conversation quickly spirals into an argument, with Josh repeatedly pointing out that at least Dalton has a father around, unlike Josh growing up. Dalton's had enough of the excuses and tells him flat out that he needs to stop hiding behind something that happened 40 years ago to justify pulling away from the family. It turns into a full-blown fight, and Josh storms out in tears while Dalton stays behind in the dorm room. Later, Josh leaves him a voicemail, promising he'll actually get himself checked out this time. Meanwhile, Dalton's new roommate, Chris, tries to get to know him a little before she moves out to a different room in the middle of their small talk. It becomes pretty obvious she's really just fishing to find out if there's something unusual about him. He ends up telling her that he spent an entire year in a coma when he was 10 years old and has zero memory of any of it. Not exactly the easiest way to kick off a friendship on the first day of class. Dalton's teacher has everyone rip up their best piece of work and dig into a memory buried deep inside them as she counts down. Dalton gets hit with this euphoric flash of a memory and starts sketching furiously. Just as he's about to complete what looks like a door on the canvas, a clawed hand bursts through and crushes his hand right into the drawing, making it bleed at the exact center of the door.
Is it keeping you in or out?
Around the same time, Josh is getting an MRI to see if there's a physical explanation for what he's been feeling, but the drawing has already cracked the door back open, and Josh starts experiencing terrifying visions right there in the scanner. It's enough that the doctor asks if there's any history of mental illness in his family, and Josh honestly has no idea. Chris eventually convinces a reluctant Dalton to come along to a frat party. At the party, he spots the ghost of a kid who died there years earlier, and the boy warns him to close the door. It freaks Dalton out badly enough that they leave immediately afterward. Not long after Dalton discovers he's capable of astral projecting himself, and with Chris digging alongside him, they start piecing together what that actually means and why he can do it.
Something's happening to me. I'm seeing things, crazy things.
That digging eventually leads them to old footage of Specs and Tucker, and from there to a video of Elise. Things start getting seriously dark for both Dalton and Josh. From this point on, Josh gets pulled back into the further by a mysterious man who shows him a box of old photographs, along with the name Ben Burton. Ben Burton turns out to be Josh's own father, who was supposedly treated for schizophrenia. In reality, Ben could travel into the further, just like his son can now. Except back then, Lorraine had no idea how to actually help him with what he was going through. Eventually, Ben took his life by jumping from the roof of the hospital where he was being kept. The box also contains a final message Ben left for Lorraine, hinting that he intended to end everything. Of course, we already know death doesn't actually end anything, and Josh grew up without a father for absolutely no reason. It all traces back to one horrific night at the old family house when Dalton was just 10. Dalton reaches out to his younger brother Foster to try to piece together what actually happened during his coma. Foster tells him he needs to ask their mother mother directly, but a stray memory about a basement starts nagging at him and won't let go. It turns out Renai has spent years telling Foster his night terrors weren't real and that his father never actually tried to hurt any of them. Finally, the word basement is enough to unlock the memory completely, and Dalton finishes his painting in tears. Furious, it shows his own father standing in front of the door holding a hammer, Josh on one side of it, and some demonic figure looming on the other. While Dalton tries to make sense of what a ghostly frat boy is trying to tell him, back at school, Chris nearly gets killed by the entity fans have nicknamed the Lipstick Demon. Josh goes to see Renai, hoping to learn more about his father. He admits he feels like he's abandoned his own family and starts wondering if maybe something really has snapped in him over the past decade, if he genuinely does have some kind of mental illness after all.
He said my mom had secret. Said she was hiding something from us.
Renai finally tells him everything about that night, how he tried to kill the whole family, and how she eventually divorced him because she couldn't keep lying and covering it up anymore.
Why?
Because you tried to kill our family.
At the same time, Dalton, desperate to understand the truth about the further, heads down into the basement himself. There he watches young Josh attacking young Dalton. Grown-up Dalton tries to physically pull his father off, but ends up dragged straight into the Lipstick Demon's lair, where the bride in black chokes him. He's forced to watch the entire night replay in front of him, almost like a puppet show staged specifically by the demon for his benefit. When he finally comes to, it isn't Dalton anymore. It's the Lipstick Demon wearing his body. Earlier, Dalton had sent a photo of his finished painting to Foster, and it becomes clear there's only one option left to save him: send Josh back into the further himself. While Josh searches for his son in there, the demon controlling Dalton's body back home is trying to kill Chris. Fortunately, Josh finds Dalton in time and swings a hammer to break the chains holding him down. Dalton, confused and terrified, assumes his father is trying to kill him and screams at him to stop. But breaking those chains is exactly what forces the demon back into the further and saves Chris in the real world. Father and son then make a run for the way out, with the Lipstick Demon chasing right behind them. Josh manages to slam the door shut ahead of the creature, but he can't hold it closed alone. So he calls out for Dalton to help him keep it shut. Dalton doesn't think it's even possible, but Josh tells him to go back to the real world instead so that he can finally finish what his own father started, meaning he'll stay behind in the further for good, if that's what it takes. Dalton gets pulled back to his body, fighting off every spirit trying to claim it along the way, and starts painting straight over the door in solid black.
You need to get rid of that thing. Burn it. Forget about it.
The demon tries desperately to tear a crack back open to reach Josh, but Dalton's fast enough this time. Josh is saved, and the door stays sealed in black with the demon gone for good. Before heading home, Josh runs into his father one last time, and the two share a knowing smile. Ben then becomes a light that merges with the very same beacon Josh has been relying on inside the further to find Dalton, revealing his father has actually been with him this whole time, even 10 years ago. Josh finally makes it back to the real world, and Dalton calls to check that he's okay. In the end, both of them come to understand that the only way to move past the hardest parts of their history is to actually face them instead of running. Right near the end, Elise pays Josh a visit to see how he's holding up. She tells him that he and Dalton have a genuinely bright future ahead of them, and that someday he'll finally get to tell his mother everything he never got the chance to say. She reminds him to stay steady, and by the time he gets into his car, she's already gone. Josh then drops by Dalton's school one last time, where Dalton is hanging a painting of his father, saving him from the further. The camera slowly zooms in on it before the screen cuts to black.